This is WMDSF magazine, and we're here with celebrity photographer Rowena Husbands. How you doing?
I'm good now.
So we all want to know, as a photographer, it can be a very, very hard industry to get into. How did you get into it, and especially as a celebrity photographer?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I fell into photography.
Wow.
I had no aspirations of being a photographer. I wanted to be a teacher. When I had my daughter, a friend of mine, my daughter, everybody told me, oh, she should be a model, and so I said, okay. I worked for Canon USA, and a friend of mine took me to a photographer to have my daughter's pictures taken. And when he was doing the pictures, I was like, oh, I could do that. So I went back to work and I asked to borrow some equipment because I wanted to take pictures of my daughter. And they lent me some equipment, a camera and a flash. I went home, I started using her as my muse. And I would take pictures of her. The pictures came out horrible.
Are you serious?
Horrible. I went back to work. I said, well, how come I have this shadow? They said, oh, you got to bounce the flash. You have to do that. Okay, so I kept practicing with her. And one day I met...
Did you ever take a flash?
Never.
Wow.
I'm all self-taught. And then one day, that same friend, Lois Skinner, introduced me to a choreographer by the name of Robin Dunn. She worked with all of the industry people, the recording artists from Brooke Shields, LL Cool J, Raven Simone. And so she introduced me to her. And my daughter was at the time about 3 years old. And we became fast friends, and she saw some of my photos and she said, wow, you have a great eye. I said, I do? I said, this was just like a hobby. I said, a great eye. She said, you really have a great eye. She said, you know, I have some students that need photos.
Right.
And so I said, okay. I used to do it for nothing.
Wow.
I would go into the city, get the film. I used to shoot with film. And I would get the film, take the pictures, give them the film, and I'd come home. She said, Rowena, you have to start charging people for your time. So I said, okay, $25. Literally, I started charging people $25. And she said, Rowena, look, you have to really up your price. So she introduced me, in turn introduced me to Mona Scott, a friend of hers. And Mona was a manager coming up the ranks in the music industry. And she had a group of Law, she had Missy, she had Busta. But at the time, she had the group of Law. So Mona was having an album release party for a group. And Robin said, well, we're going to come. And she said, you know, can Rowena come? Mona said, absolutely. So Mona said, tell her to bring her camera. I said, camera? I want a party. I don't want to be with no camera, because I was doing it right. I was just doing it as a hobby. Right. So I reluctantly brought my camera with me. And that night she said, you have your camera? I said, yeah. She said, good, I'm hiring you.
Wow.
So hiring me. That night I photographed Mariah Carey, Nas, everybody in the music industry. That was, I mean, unbelievable. I didn't know what I was doing. I literally was terrified because I said the place, it was at the old Palladium. It was dark, and I said,
the lighting.
The lighting. You know, the little pop-up flash popped up, but I took the pictures anyway. And when I developed the pictures, I said, oh, wait a minute.
It actually came out
good. So I was like, oh. So I gave Mona the photos. Those photos ended up in Vibe magazine, all different places. I didn't get paid for it.
Oh my God.
Mona, you still
Where's
owe
the
me.
money?
You still owe me. It's 20 years later, boo-boo. No.
She said she paid you in other ways.
Right, which she has. So the pictures were ending up everywhere without my photo credit.
Wow.
But I didn't know. I was like, oh, that's my photo. Oh, that's my
God.
photo. Oh. But then I said, wait a minute. There's other people's credit on there, no credit. So what I started to do, I got a rubber stamp. I started stamping the back of the photos, because I used to give prints.
Right.
And I said, they'll know that this is my photo, because that happened for a while. My pictures were showing up in all the trade magazines, the music magazines, without my credit or other people's credit, because they would hit up the artist or the management and say, I need a photo of, say, Busta, and they would just have the prints and say, here. They wouldn't say who right. So I learned a valuable lesson, and so I got a rubber stamp and started stamping the photos. And Mona, from that, my name started ringing in the industry as a photographer. And I've been doing it ever since. One person hired me, then the next, then the next, then the next. And that's how it, you know, that's how I started.
So once you developed a love, or you realized that this was your love, was there any other areas that you wanted to be pulled into aside from celebrity photography, like documentary photography?
Well, I do that. I do. Yeah, I do. I used to do the fashion stuff. I prefer not to, but I did do it. I did the fashion stuff, the fashion shows, the runway shows. I did documentary. I do still photography on sets.
Wow.
You know, I do on film. I do the still photography. I do the behind the scenes. I do it for Love and Hip Hop. For VH1, I do it for American Idol, the live tour. I'm the photographer.
Right.
New York Women in Film and Television, I'm their official photographer. So I capture everything that a videographer, like I do music videos.
Right.
I did Alicia Keys, Jasmine Sullivan, Young and Divine. I've done numerous music videos. I capture the same thing on still that the videographer captures with the
So
motion
you tell the
picture.
story with your
I tell the story with my pictures. So had you never seen the music video and you look at my stills, you would know to tell a story. And that's what I love doing, telling a story. So yeah, I branched off into the different arena. I also do headshots for actors and actresses, so.
What was your most memorable moment as a photographer?
Doing the Queen of Soul.
Wow.
Shooting the Queen of Soul. When they called me to shoot Aretha Franklin to be her photographer, I was in awe because I watched growing up as a little girl, Aretha Franklin. When I was called she was performing in New York, this was years ago, and I was hired to be her photographer. After the performance in the dressing room, I was just standing there mesmerized because this was the Queen of Soul. Like,
You were dumbfounded.
I was, when I tell you, and she must have been looking at me like I was crazy because I just was like, this is Aretha
She's like, what do I say to her? My idol.
And she just looked at me and I was taking the pictures and I just could not believe that I had actually been called to do it. And the check that I got from her, no, I cashed it, but I made a copy of it because I was like, this is the Queen of Soul. And nobody gonna believe this.
Exactly.
That I am photographing her. I'm her photographer. That was the most memorable moment of my career as a photographer.
If you were talking to a young photographer and up and coming, what's like one tip that you would give them as a photographer?
Stand your ground, learn your craft, be humble, follow your dream. Never allow anyone to tell you that you can't do something. Because if I did, I would have not been a photographer. Number one, it's a male-dominated industry. Now, 20 years later, there's more female photographers.
Right.
But when I started, it was very, very few. Very few female photographers, and the men dominated it. But I think growing up in the projects with my 4 older brothers gave me a tough skin.
Do you think it's easier now?
For people, yeah, but I'm blessed because I'm still 20 years later, I'm highly referred. I'm constantly being called. My phone is constantly ringing, and I do corporate stuff as well. I don't just do the music. My work has been in many magazines, many photo books, the Dolce & Gabbana music book, the Def Jam, 25 years of Def Jam. I'm one of the only African-American female photographers whose picture is in that book.
So as a mom, I know that's how you got into this field. How do you feel it is to balance everything between being a mom and your career, and especially as busy as you are? How is it to balance everything?
Well, when she was growing up, I made sure that she was a priority. That was my child. I was going to be a mom. I was not going to let anything interfere with that. I took her to school. I picked her up from school. I cooked her dinner. I was home. And so what I did, yes, I balanced it. I made her a priority. So I did most of my work while she was in school. So I didn't travel much when she was little because I didn't want to leave her because she was my priority. As she got older, junior high school, then I started taking on more jobs where I traveled more and I did more event things in the evening because she was older. And then I had my mom to be there, to help me with her. So she was never left alone. And the balancing part was I put her first.
What would you say to moms that have pushed their passions to the back burner because of their children? What advice would you give them if they were looking to step out on that
Do
passion?
it. Do it. You can balance it and have a support group.
Right.
Have a support. I had a great support group. Friends, Robin Dunn, Mona Scott, Lois Skinner. I had a great support group. My family, my little sister Star. I had a great support group. So if you have a support group, go out, step out in faith and do it.
So I know you have transitioned from photography over to now management. So tell us, what are some of the artists that you're working with right now, and where do you see your Dolphin management going from here?
With Dolphin Entertainment Management Group, I manage now recording artists from Germany. Her name is BB Thomas, a wonderful, talented young lady. Not only is she a singer-songwriter, she's a producer. She plays the piano and the guitar. So yeah, she'll be back here in the States, but she's talented. So I manage her. I also still manage my daughter's acting career.
So I know you do Love and Hip Hop.
Yes.
What's it like to be on that set?
Girl, you know what it's like to be on that set. Okay? The shenanigans.
Yes. Is this
As
all
Jaslene
real?
would say.
Is it
Yes.
scripted?
No, it's not scripted. Absolutely not.
Wow.
It is real. It is as real as it can get because it's reality TV and it's about reality.
Right.
Some of those reality shows are scripted. This is
Right.
not scripted.
Wow.
It is crazy.
So Jocelyn is as crazy as she looks on
yes.
TV?
All of the talent, that's who they really are.
Wow.
And you know, to have your life played out on television and your relationships, it can't be easy.
No.
And what happens is you forget that the cameras are there.
Right.
You forget. And so most people have their life behind closed doors. They're out, they have it for the world to see.
Right.
So it can't be easy. What I try to do is, because I'm a mom and I have a daughter, I'm a role model for my daughter, you know. So I try, when I'm on the set, I try to talk to these young ladies. When I see them doing foolishness, acting up, I always point out to them. I'll pull them to the side, although, you know, it's not my business, but as a woman, as a African-American woman and a mother of an African-American child, a woman, I have to just give them some advice. Like, some of them never probably had that advice, so I give them advice like, look, remember that this footage is forever. Remember, especially if you have children, they're going to grow up and they're going to have friends that's going to see this footage. So be careful of what you're willing to sacrifice for 15 minutes of fame or for a check.
Talking about that is the recent video that came out with, was it Mimi? That came out with a sex tape. And she was trying to prevent that from coming out because she felt the same thing, that it would affect her daughter, that it came out. Do you think that is something that she could retract in the life of her daughter and how she should present it to her? What advice would
you can't retract that. She should have thought about that, and I love all of them. I love Mimi and all that, and I don't condone any of that, but you can't retract that. That's something that you can't retract, and there's no amount of money that would have me. No one could have convinced me, number one, to do that, and then to sell it, to make money. I don't care. It would not have. If it got out, it got out. So if it was stolen or leaked, okay. But I'm not gonna, I don't understand her logic because she has a child. There's no way you can fix that. I know me. If that was my daughter's friend, I'd be very reluctant now to allow my child to have a play date because I'm afraid of what is going on in that household, you know? And I don't know if she was thinking about her daughter. She says she is. I'm not going to judge her, but no amount of money, anything would have me do that.
I know Mona Scott and Yandy are very close. I know Mantisi was recently released. How has that been, that shift that she went through between having to be a single mom at a very early age and then now having him back and hearing everything from the tabloids?
Yandy handled it wonderful. I have to take my hat off to Yandy. Yandy is, I've known Yandy since she came out of college. And Yandy really has grown into a fine young woman. She's a great mom. She's a great person. And she handled it very well in spite of everything that was going on in the media. In spite of everything being broadcast on reality TV, she handled it well.
So what do we have to look forward to coming from Rowena in the next couple of years?
Well, my book, my series of books.
Oh, wow.
Finally, I'm taking time
For yourself.
for me, which is a blessing. Actually, I have a second meeting with my new assistant, Selena Covington, who is amazing, who is keeping me together and keeping it all tied together.
To keep you
Yes,
safe.
because I'm a hyper person.
Right.
I'm a very hyper passionate person, as you know. So I need someone mellow and calm. And she gets me right. She has my back. She holds me down.
Your yin to your yang.
Yes.
Keep you focused.
Yes. And so the first book is started. We're in the process. I'm so excited. You know, that is finally coming to fruition. You know, so that's what I have in coming months. And then, like I said, my new client, BB Thomas, with her EP. So a lot of good things. You know, I have other things in the works that I'm not going to discuss right now, but other things with my company Dolphin Entertainment, as well as Blink of an Eye, my photography company. You know,
And
I
are you
wear two
teaching
hats.
also photography?
Well, I don't teach photography, but what I do is I do go and I speak to the young teenagers, the high school students, junior high school students. I just recently did Get Real with Your Dreams with Sade Benoit and Disney. It was for over 350 high school students.
Wow.
And and that's my way of
Right.
teaching, giving back, and letting them know that they can do it. If they have a passion for it, do it. Because
Exactly.
I fell into this and it became a career. It's very lucrative for me. And I love what I do, and I'm going to continue to do it and grow,
So I know you're doing Broadway plays right now, and I know the last one we spoke about was Lady Day. So tell me, how's that going?
Well, it's good. I work with a couple of the Broadway producers for certain shows, and what I do is I get the black press to be able to see the show, because the black press, sometimes they're not included in the plays, and especially if it's an African American play. Lady Day was about Billie Holiday, so what they do is they hire me to come in and get the black press. Like what I did recently, I went up to some of the establishments in Harlem, like Red Rooster, Sylvia's, Corner Social, Melvin's, and I brought the flyers up for the play, and I gave them 2 tickets to see the play. So just to put the flyers in their establishment. And all of them, they were very happy, but they said we would have done it without the tickets to support. Because a lot of times people didn't, like, for instance, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the play. Deborah Cox was in that play. Did you know that she was in that play? With Constantine, and it was amazing. She was amazing, but no one knew she was in the play.
Right.
So, and that's what they hire me to do. So that's what I do. I go to like different establishments and I let them know this is a play with black talent in it. And
that's a big issue.
Yeah.
As we go to a lot of different plays and there's no black people represented. The press out there is all dominated by white males. And you very rarely see women.
Right.
And then on top of that, African American women aren't represented.
Right.
So that's a great thing.
Yeah, and I mean I enjoy it because I get to see the plays, and then when the people that I send to the play, they hit me back and they post and they write a story about it, and they say thank you, and I'm very happy to be able to do it. I'm glad I'm in that position to be able to offer them that.
And what's the up and coming ones?
There's one with Marissa Tomei, and there's another one with James Earl Jones coming up. The Tupac Shakur play.
And the Marissa Tomei one is Realistic.
Realistic Jones.
Okay.
Realistic Jones. That's an amazing play. And also, I was working with Bridges of Madison County and All the Way with Bryan Cranston. But those 2 are closing, if they haven't closed yet. But new ones come all the way, all the time. So, but Lady Day is the play to go see.
Yes.
It's amazing.
How long is it going to be running?
Throughout August, and they're probably going to extend it. So, but it's an amazing play. It's amazing.
I know you also went to Coco's opening.
Oh yes, that was amazing.
Yes,
Let me tell you,
that.
that Coco needs to find a home for that. People would come and see.
Right, she was on the Bethany Frankel show.
Oh, she was.
And I think they were actually talking about it being an official off-Broadway
It should be.
play.
It should be. It's tastefully done. She got the talent she picked, unbelievable. And the show is a good show. It's a burlesque show, but it's amazing. It's tastefully done, and I was excited to see it.
Is it very Vegas, or is it more more burlesque, as you can say?
It's a mixture.
Right.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture. And the choreographer, it's great. And I wish her well with it. I hope that they get a home for it. I'm here in New York, and I wish her well. I really wish her well. It was a great play.
I definitely know that as press ourselves, we went to a show not too long ago to do a review, and we were basically specs in the audience. So I definitely think that what you're doing is great.
Well, thanks to Irene Gandy, she's one of the only black press agents on Broadway. She even has her own caricature in Sardi's. So she's the reason why all this is possible for me to invite black press, because that's her passion, to have more African American people in the Broadway seats and the press, because it's so scarce.
Right.
So that's what she fights for So thanks to her, I'm able to do that, you know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bro. You're
Thank
such an
you.
inspiration to a lot of women out there, and
Thank you.
especially as an African American woman. And I want to thank you for paving that way.
Thank you.
And if you have to give one more piece of advice to the young women out there, what would you say?
Follow your dreams. Step out on faith. Like I said, do not follow your passion. Even if you don't get paid for it at first, you know, it shouldn't be about the money.
Right. Never be about the money.
Never be about the money. Because if it was about the money, I would
be in it.
Honey, because I did not get paid. You understand? I got no money in the beginning. Okay? Right. None. Zero.
Neither one of us did.
Okay? And now, you know, I'm one of the most sought after female photographers, you know. So follow your dream, you know, but never allow anyone to tell you what you cannot do.
Exactly.
Do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
bro.
you.
And let them know where they can find your work.
You can find my work on my photography site. It's blinkofanayephotographyonline.com. And my management company is Dolphin Entertainment Management Group. And I also have Red Queen Music Group. That's the music, the record label.
Exactly. And for more pictures, you can also hit up www.WMDSFmag.com. Thank you so much, bro.
I love you.
I love you.